increases every year that we need to address, and then that's our employee costs, our operating costs, our capital improvement costs, statutory expenses. I've always been on the thought that if you go up a little bit, it makes it a little bit easier every year to keeping that tax rate low. One of my concerns is when you decrease, you decrease for that year, but again, you have to make up that decrease for future years because it's now your new base. So that is, one of my concerns. Certainly we've been, certainly very, very fortunate in the last few years where we have new ratables coming in. The conservative fiscal policies were not, with our employees, even though, we may have a $35 million budget, we're not spending $35 million. We are, only spending, what we need. We may stay on top of our department heads and everything else. And so, although there may be money in the budget, certainly as we're getting towards the year end, it doesn't become a spending spree. That's, we put in safeguards for that already. So, looking at that is to, just because you have money in your budget doesn't give you the authority to spend it at will. You have to justify every single penny. And that certainly comes back, with Fran and our finance department, our purchasing department, and then, more importantly, when, the bills come to you, like tonight you brought me one bill, this doesn't make sense. Why are we being charged? It's a small amount of money, but again, everything goes into that pot. But I've always been kind of looking, you raise it a tiny bit. I don't think if it goes up $20 that our residents are going to be upset because of what we provide to them. So on the average home, it goes up $20, $25. They're not going to be screaming up and down that we are raising taxes. I think on the other hand, most residents don't realize the difference between the municipal and the state and the county and the open space and the library. They get their tax bill, and this year it's $10,100, and next year it's $10,200, and that $100 is the school district, but it's Morris Township, so we're the bad guys. And they kind of look at that. My Morris Township raised my taxes again $100. Morris Township didn't raise your taxes. Morris Township gave municipal taxes flat. However, your taxes were raised because of the school district. So we own it because we send out the bills. Mm-hmm. I'm probably digressing a little bit, but that's kind of my thought. Is a little bit, it just kind of protects you, and it doesn't really have in my opinion, an awful impact when a resident is paying $10,000 in property tax to go up to $20 for the services and what the township provides to our residents.
Right. And you said our budget is $36 million. We don't spend all of it. That money still belongs to our taxpayers.
Right.
It sits in the bank and belongs to them.
Right. But again, and Mr. Arvanites pointed to it, that what we don't spend is eventually, after 1 year, it's going to roll back into fund balance. Mm-hmm. So it's not like we didn't spend it, we're just putting it in the bank. It will roll back into the fund balance, and that we look at for that fund balance. So, part of that increase in fund balance is also making sure that we only spend what we need to.
Right. But the point is that money still belongs to the taxpayers. It's not disappearing. It's just rolling over from year to year. And it still belongs to everybody. If they still live here, that's correct. And you could municipality shop, I guess, if you want to call it municipality shopping, and move every 2 years to a place that's saving money versus or shop to a place that's giving money back versus a town that's saving money for a rainy day. And you could do that. And it is two different ways of looking at it.
I will say, last year I argued to lower taxes and did lower them last year. And we still replenished our surplus and then added $1.2 million on top of it, the tax cut. So last year's example is proof that what I'm presenting to this township committee, that we can do it again, and we will still replenish our surplus. There's no reason why I would present something to this municipality. As you can tell, I have a passion for municipal budgeting. There's no reason why, I live here too, there's no reason why I would present a budget that would handcuff our residents that would make us look bad and put the township in a position where we're not AAA rated, that we're not one of the lowest tax rate municipalities in the state. You know, we got elected to do what's best for our residents, and that's what I'm trying to do here. I'm not saying that you're not, because what you're presenting is not wrong. I just think that providing tax relief to our residents when we can, as I mentioned at the last meeting, good government lowers taxes when it can. We can lower taxes, and it will not hurt us today, and it will not hurt us in the future.
But it will hurt us in the future, because we won't have the
Last
money.
year, we didn't get hurt.
Correct, but if we want to do a big capital program, yeah, we have to go out to borrow it as opposed to having more money on hand to do something special.
We have more than enough to do what we need.
Okay. So I would just add one other thing, is because it is a very difficult question to answer. You know, how much fund balance, but what's the right number? That's actually a question we get often. What should my fund balance? What should it be? And there really isn't an answer. It comes down to philosophy. There's really no wrong answer in it. It comes down to comfort. What I would say is that, you know, as you know, as auditors, you know, we are statutorily required to sign the budget. You know, and what that means is that we've made sure it foots, balances, and is in the form and content that's prescribed by the Division of Local Government Services. That's not us giving an opinion whether it's a good budget or a bad budget. But certainly, you know, through that review of the budget, we don't just obviously just make sure it foots. We do look at it, we do review, we do evaluate it. You know, and then as when we look at strong, you know, well-run, fiscally managed towns, we look for certain things. You know, what's the tax rate look like? You know, lots of spikes, lots of increases, is it flat? You know, and yours has been largely flat for a long, you know, period of time. You know, how about the debt load? Does the debt load continue to rise? You know, that would be a source of fiscal distress potentially, or, you know, really just burdening, you know, and taking on finance costs that you don't need, or but you know, your debt's going down.